Hi there, Serial Trader here. I'm just going to do an update on Boeing. So near the beginning of September, I highlighted a trade setup on this, and I was working. We had this contracting triangle wave 4, and the pivot for that was 328.03, and then I was working that we had a 1 up, a 2 down, and that we were going to start making a minor degree third wave up in what will ultimately be a larger degree um, wave 5 to the upside to match our triangle degree wave 4, this intermediate degree wave 4. So now we're actually fully confirming that interpretation. We've gotten above not only the intermediate wave 3 high at 371.60, but also this wave B of the triangle at 374.48. So we're in an all-time high breakout mode at this point. And I initially said I both bought stock and call options. So I'm still holding the stock. And now I've adjusted my stop up to the most recent consolidation low, which was just under 364.32. So that's where my stop is, just below that level on the stock. And I initially had the 330 strike February calls. I started going up, so I rolled them up to the 340 strike. It kept going up, so I rolled them up now to the 350 strike. And if it goes up a bit more here short term, I'll again roll them up again, just to maintain the same delta I had originally, but obviously take a lot of profit and capital out of the equation and still have the same exposure. That's the nice thing about rolling up or rolling down if things are really trending in your favor. You can systematically take profit, but still maintain the delta of the original position. Certainly one way of kind of trailing a move with options. But all right, so yeah, just thought I'd point out that it worked out as anticipated, and that was less than a month ago, I believe, that I did that video on the Boeing setup. And at the time, I think we were around 340 and change. So obviously on a big blue chip stock like that, we've had a huge move in a short period of time, so great to see. And the move isn't done yet either. So going to the Thinkorswim candlestick chart. So my initial Fibonacci target here to the upside, and let me try and just get scaling to be a little more attractive. Maybe I'll do a weekly chart just so it's a better fit. Okay. So initial Fibonacci target to the upside, and that's just the reverse fib of the A wave of the triangle, so the largest move of that triangle. The 1.382 objective comes in at 394.68, so we're not too far away, about $10 away currently, as we got up to 383 and change today. And then the 2.0 multiple gets us up to 432.03. So certainly, potentially a lot of upside still to go here. Now let's go back to the daily. Okay. So if you were, obviously it would have been nice to get in with me earlier in the month when we were, way down here in the 340s. But that doesn't mean you can't still take advantage of this stock. So we recently consolidated to a low of 364.32. So if you wanted to go long stock here, I'm not saying this is a great entry by any means, but if you went long stock here at 383 as an example, and put your stop just below 364, so you'd have roughly a $20 risk, $20 gap between your stop and your entry. If we go to 432, okay, you'd have about a $50 potential reward versus the $20 potential risk should you come down and get stopped out at the 364 there. So that's not bad. About 50 to 20. So $50 reward versus $20 risk. It's not the best. It's not the tightest stop, but it's certainly it's more than 2 to 1, which is still decent. It's like 2.5 to 1, right? And if you were to go long options here, you'd likely just want to exit your calls at whatever loss had if you did come down and test that 364 support and it didn't hold, right? So just looking here as an example, now I'm in a bit different of a position since I'm already in this and I'm just trailing this up. But if you were to do a new entry, you might look at some Decembers. Now that we are moving, you can be a little more confident that you don't need as much time. I know I initially used February contracts, but that was before we really got breaking out there. But again, just I always get more time than I think I'll need, so nothing wrong with that. But if you want to go long now, maybe the December 375 strike calls, that would give you a delta of roughly 0.6, which is kind of my go-to delta for a long option. 0.59 to be exact right now, but basically 0.60. And yeah, so that'd be 375 strike. Go long 375 strike calls, and then obviously exit those calls if we did come down and take out that most recent support of 364.32. But certainly at this point, momentum is still very much in favor of further upside, and we haven't even hit our initial fib targets, and I expect in all likelihood we'll actually go up and probably hit the more exuberant fib targets the way this thing is moving, and certainly the way this thing has moved in the past. And by that I mean if we go, let's look at the last run we had here. So here's our most recent large degree consolidation. Okay, so we bottomed at 120, or sorry, 120ish, and then look at this run we went on. So obviously that was a third wave, so very strong. You don't expect the fifth wave to be as strong, but still, even if you just had half of this run from where we started, I mean, we'd be smashing through our fib targets that I've laid out here. So just a thought. Anyway, I thought Boeing deserved an update as it's worked out, just so well and in quite a short period of time. So hopefully that was good. All right, Serial Trader signing off.